Okay, again, so my name is Shay Hambling, and I'm the owner at Creative Computer Solutions. And this is going to be a class on how to navigate a Windows computer. And then I'm going to go over our featured software of the week, which is going to be YouTube. Now, YouTube is a software, even though it's web-based, but it is a software run on somebody else's computer, basically. But we'll go over on how to use YouTube and the different things you can do in YouTube besides just watch funny videos. So before we go in on how to navigate a computer, I wanted to go over three main components of a computer to get started so that I can show you kind of where we're coming from. So there's the three main components that we're focusing on this section is number one, the hard drive. Your hard drive is where everything is stored on your computer. If you save a picture, music, videos, you get emails into an email client. Anything you do on your computer is saved on your hard drive. It's very common for hard drives to go bad. That's why everybody is recommended to have a backup, um, whether it's a cloud backup solution or sorry, the phone rang there, whether it's a cloud backup, which backs up all your stuff online, or if it's a external hard drive that you plug into the computer to back your stuff up on. That way, if anything does break on your hard drive, you'll have a backup. Uh, so here's a picture of a hard drive, and that's basically the inside of a hard drive. Looks like a little record player. It's all done on magnetics and binary code. The second item is your RAM. So your RAM is a temporary storage, and it stores everything that you're currently working on. So if you're using your computer to, say, write a Word document, and everything that you're typing at the moment and that Word document, it's all stored in RAM. And when you click save, it goes back and saves it onto the hard drive. And the third component is the processor. The processor is the computer. That's the processor. It computes all of the every command that you're telling it to do. It does it. So it's kind of like the brain of the operation. I created a little video here with an analogy that I like to use all the time when I'm explaining the three components to customers. Uh, so if you can imagine a library, and in that library you have a person sitting at a desk, you have the desk, and then you have a bookshelf in the background. So in this scenario, the processor would be the person sitting at the desk. They are the one who goes to the bookshelf, decides what books to put on the shelf or to put on the desk, and what books to read when they're on the desk, and what to do with the information. The RAM would be the desk. So you have a nice big desk and you can fit so many books on there. So it's quicker for you to store the books that you're currently using on the desk rather than going back and putting them onto the bookshelf every time. And the hard drive would be the shelves. So the more shelving space you have, the more information you can store on your computer. So again, it's just a little analogy of how I kind of describe everything. The shelf being the hard drive. So that's where everything is stored. The desk being the RAM. The bigger your desk, the more stuff you can work on at one time, which helps speed up the computer a little bit by having extra RAM. And then the processor would be the person. They're the one that decides what to do with the information. All right, so now we're going to go into the most complicated part of this class, which is the folder and file structure. So on your computer, the hard drive, if you think of the hard drive as, your storage, you have a family tree basically coming off of that hard drive, starting with the C drive. So your C drive is the root folder on the hard drive. From there, everything on your computer is accessible. So while looking at this diagram, I'm going to minus this out and show you the C drive on my computer so you can kind of see where I'm going with this. So right here, this is under devices and drives. This is the top of the family tree. So this is the first person in the family. And that's the C drive. Once I open the C drive, you'll notice I have a bunch of other folders. Inside of these folders, you will find more folders, and so on and so on. So inside of that, as I just showed you, you'll have more folders. So Windows folders, and the one that we're really worried about, the only one that you really need to know is the user folder. The user folder is where all your personal information is stored. So inside your user folder, you're going to have a picture folder, a documents folder, a downloads folder, a desktop folder. And then you're also going to have, inside your user folder, you're first going to have a list of users. So on this computer, we have one user, which is owner, and then we have public, which is a default folder on everybody's computer. So my username on this computer is owner. So if I click on owner, you'll see in here, I have my contacts, desktop, documents, downloads, favorites, links, music, pictures, games, videos. This is all of my personal stuff that I use on the computer all the time. So when I save a document, it normally goes into one of these folders. If I save a picture, it goes into the picture folder. And it's important to know about folders is you can have a folder that has more folders in it, or you can have the base file, which means it's not a folder, that's the end item on that line of the tree, the end of the branch, so to say. All right, and I know that looks kind of complicating to some, but it's just kind of like it shows the family tree of the computer. So again, you can have folders inside folders, and you can also have files inside folders. So if I click on my pictures folder, you'll see I have two more folders inside of there. If I clicked on my saved pictures, you'll see there's nothing in there. I'll use downloads. All right, if I go to my downloads folder, I have no folders in there, but I have two files. So if I click on that, it's actually going to launch the file and not go to another folder. And this will all tie in later on when I go into how to save and open a document. All right. So the first thing we're going to do on navigating the computer here is the desktop. What's on the desktop? What are the features on here? And what can you do? Now, this is can get a little bit complicated because I'm using Windows 10 on here. However, some people will have Windows 7 and some will have Windows 8. So it's different according to each computer. However, they are all very similar, and I have some pictures to kind of show you so if you are on Windows 8 or Windows 7, you can see. All right, so the first thing on the main thing that everybody uses on their desktop is going to be the start button. Windows 8 does not have a start button. Windows 10 and Windows 7 do. If you click on the start button on Windows 8, it's going to take you to your smart screen or start screen, which normally looks like this. However, everything that you can do on the Windows 10 and Windows 7 start button, you can also do on the Windows 8 start screen. So when I click the start button, you'll see on Windows 10, it's going to bring up a bunch of tiles over here and a list of items that do here. So I'll start up top. The top is going to be the username. So the username on this computer is owner. And by clicking on this, it's going to give me options of things that I can do. I can sign out of the user. If I have another user on the computer, I'll be able to log in. I can lock it if I have a password. That makes it so that if I leave the computer, someone would have to re-enter the password to log back in, or I can change my account settings such as my username, password, stuff like that. Underneath that, you're going to have most used on Windows 10. And obviously that is a dynamic list, so it will change according to what you open more often. So the more you open it, it'll get added to this list. And then you have recently added, which is going to be anything that was recently installed on your computer. To the right, you have your tiles. These are all customizable in Windows 10, and they are the same as the start screen on Windows 8. So you can drag them, move them around, put them in different order, change them, delete it, resize it, make it a wide one. It's all customizable. You can also unpin it if you don't want it on there, and it'll go off. And you can change the name of everything up here to whatever you want to have. So if you want all your utilities, like your email, stuff like that, change the name. And you can do the same on the right side. On Windows 10, you'll next, below the recently added, you'll have File Explorer. This is where you would click to get to that root folder, the C drive. So if I click on File Explorer, you'll see it first brings up my quick access. So it's by default, Windows tries to make it easier in Windows 10, so it doesn't take you directly to the C drive, but they try to make it easier by showing you your frequent folders and your recent stuff that was opened. So to get to the C drive in Windows 10, you would hit this PC. And boom, now we're at the top of the family tree. As you see, the C colon. And now let me pull up a picture of the Windows 7 start menu for those of you on Windows 7. So as you see, it looks a lot different. On the Windows 7 start menu, you have the start button. This one is round, obviously. Starting from the top, it'll actually, by default, this list is going to be your frequently used, just like on Windows 10, or your most used, I should say. However, in Windows 7, you can right-click on something and make it default so that it's always there. And then your username on Windows 7 is over here, right where it says Win7. That would be this person's username. And on Windows 7, you have some quick links or shortcuts over here to the right side, with your power options being at the bottom right. And again, on Windows 8, you have the Smart Screen or Start Screen or Metro Screen. It's got a bunch of different names, and it pulls up everything in these tiles. And if you wanted to get to your programs on Windows 8, you would click the down arrow, or if you wanted to get to your user settings or anything, you would click your username over in the top right. That's where you could log out, the whole 9 yards. So next on the start screen here is settings. Inside settings, that's where you can control just about anything that is customizable on your computer. I'm not going to go into depth on that today. That would be a whole class in itself, probably two, because there's a lot of stuff you can do inside settings. Under settings, you have your power. By clicking power, it'll give you the option to shut down, sleep, hibernate, or restart, or sign out. So shut down obviously turns down your computer, turns it off all the way. Hibernate puts it into a deep sleep, makes it a little bit faster for you to turn it back on afterwards. And sleep is just basically turns off the screen for you. And sign out, again, that's the same thing as if you clicked at the owner up top and hit lock. And then all apps. All apps will take you to what I showed you on the Windows 8 screen, that down arrow that takes you to all the applications. On Windows 10, all apps takes you to all your programs. You'll have an alphabetical order on Windows 10 of all your programs, And Windows 7, they call it programs, not apps. However, it is basically the same. It's not in alphabetical order. They kind of do it in category on Windows 7, but nonetheless, it brings up the list of all the programs on your computer. And that just about covers the start menu on the desktop. If anybody has any questions about that, feel free to go ahead and type them in on the question section on the right side of your screen. Next, I'm going to go to a very commonly used feature on the desktop, which is your recycling bin. Anytime you delete anything off of your computer to make space, or just you don't need it anymore, you're trying to organize it, whatever, it always goes into the recycling bin. However, when you put something in the recycling bin, it does not delete it. Items from the recycling bin can be restored. So for instance, if I'm in my computer training folder here on the desktop and I decide I don't want my 7 start menu here and I delete it, it's gone. That item will now appear in my recycling bin right here, 7 start menu. If I decide I want that back, if I click on it, you'll have recycle bin tools up top here. I can hit manage and I can hit restore the selected item. Takes it out of the recycling bin, puts it right back where it was. So if you accidentally delete something, don't be too nervous. It goes to the recycling bin. However, if you do want to get rid of it for good, you know you're never going to need it, and you really want to clear that space off your computer, under recycling bin tools, you'll have manage and empty recycling bin. Once you do that, these items are permanently deleted, and you would need a computer company like us or someone else to be able to recover them after this point. By hitting yes, they're gone. Now my recycling bin is completely empty. So if you're running low on space on your computer and you need to make space, go ahead, look in your recycling bin, see how much stuff you have in there and empty it out, and that will definitely clear up a lot of space for most people. Most of the time the recycling bin is never emptied. Okay, next common feature on the desktop would be the taskbar. And oh, sorry, the recycling bin is pretty much the same in Windows 7 and Windows 8. On Windows 8, it's located on the Windows 8 desktop, which you get to by clicking on the desktop tile, and that takes you to your desktop. And there's a recycling bin on there. Windows 7, that's right on the desktop. And pretty much the emptying, everything is very similar in all the windows. So next we're going to go over the taskbar. Taskbar is the bottom bar on your desktop here, which is what houses the start button. On Windows 10, it has a search bar. This is a task view, which I'll show you here in a second. And these are your items and then your notification center. So starting with the start button, obviously we went over that. You can actually do more than just click the start the start button here to bring up the menu. You can also right click and it'll bring up a what's called a context menu, which gives you even more options. And from there you can get to control panel. Most of the things in here nobody would ever use unless you're deep into computers. The search bar. Windows 7 and Windows 8 and Windows 10 all have a search bar. To get to the search bar in Windows 7, you would click the start button and it's right there, right at the bottom. Inside that search bar, you can type in anything you want. If you are looking to figure out how to change the background of your computer, you could literally just type in background. And as you'll see, it'll pull up everything on the computer that has background. So, hey, background settings, or remove background, change your lock screen. If you need to change your password, you can literally type in change password and it'll come up. And when you click on that, it'll automatically take you exactly where you need to go to do everything that you need to do. So the start menu can be, or the search bar can be very handy. Again, in Windows 7, it's right at the bottom. When you click the start button, it'll be right here where it says all apps on this one. There's an empty bar there and you type whatever you need in there. Windows 10, it's located on the right side of it. And on Windows 8, it's a little bit more complicated. You have to take your mouse all the way down to the bottom right-hand side of the screen, and it'll pull out a bar from the side of the screen, and at the very top of it you will have a magnifying glass that you click on to open the search bar. So this is a feature that's only on Windows 10. It's not on Windows 7. It's also on Windows 8, but not Windows 10. If you can actually search the internet right from this smart bar, so or search bar. So if you wanted to find let's see here, Creative Computer Solutions in Cape Coral. If you need to find our address, you could type in there and hit search, and it'll bring up all your internet results right up top. So it makes it handy. You can do a lot of things in there. It also, in Windows 10, houses Cortana. Cortana is a lot of people are familiar with Siri on Apple or OK Google on your Android smart device. So Cortana is the same thing for Windows 10. You can talk to it and ask it to do things. I'm not going to get into that on this class. So next you have the task view, which I'll jump back to. And next you'll see all these little squares or icons. And these are things that are either pinned to the taskbar, so they stay there, or things that you are currently have open. So I have PowerPoint open, so you'll see a P right here representing the PowerPoint icon. And you'll notice if I hold my mouse over it, I actually have two separate instances of PowerPoint open. So you will see the preview of each PowerPoint presentation. If you put your mouse over it, it'll show you in the background in a larger form of that one. And if you want to switch to it, you just click on it and it'll bring it up. So now I'm going to show you how to pin something down here so that if it's something you commonly use and you think this is a good spot for it, you can make it so that it stays here. And I'll show you with, let's see here, yeah, Google Chrome. So when you're on your desktop or wherever you're at on your computer and you find that item that you would like to pin to your taskbar, it's as easy as right-clicking to open the context menu and hit pin to taskbar. So I'll actually do it with Firefox so that you'll see it pop up down there. So I hit pin to taskbar, and boom, Firefox is there, and it'll stay there forever unless I right-click and hit unpin from taskbar. And you can do the same thing with the right click to pin it to your start menu. So if I hit pin to start menu, and this is the same in Windows 7, Windows 7 as well. So I pin it to my start menu, and you'll see it put a tile down here of Firefox. And again, you can also unpin it from the start with a right click. Right clicking context menus, that's where your meat and bones is on how you do everything with anything on your computer. All right, so next we have the notification area. So down here you have your clock, calendar, and it's the same. Again, this is the same on Windows 7 or Windows 8. It changes in the appearance. However, most of the features are exactly the same. On Windows 10, you have a notification center. So if you click this, it'll tell you anything that it thinks needs to happen on your computer. Next, you'll have the volume control. And that symbol is pretty similar. It's solid on Windows 7 and Windows 8. But when you click on it, it lets you change the volume. And next is on this computer is the Wi-Fi. So this is how I connect to and disconnect from Wi-Fi. And then obviously your battery level, if you put your mouse over it and just leave it, you can see it really small. It says fully charged 100%. And if you click on the battery, you can some minor settings. And then the up arrow, for everything that it runs out of room to show, it'll put in the up arrow. So on here, most of the time, anything that's in the up arrow, you don't have to do anything with. But if you have a program open that creates an item in the notification center, you can see that with the up arrow. And again, by clicking on it will open the program, or right clicking on it will open the settings, so what you can do with it. And that basically covers the desktop. I do want to show you real quick how to add something to your desktop if you wanted to add more items to it. So if you're in your programs or apps in Windows 10 or Windows 7, it would be called All Programs, and I want to add the calculator to the desktop. It's the same as adding something to the taskbar. I lied. On Windows 10, you actually just drag and drop. So you click and hold and bring it to the desktop and drop it on there. On Windows 7 and Windows 8, you right click and hit send to desktop. And if you have something on your desktop that you don't want on there, for instance, I don't want the calculator on there, if I right click it and hit delete, it's gone. And you'll notice it filled up my recycling bin and it put it in there. It doesn't mean that it took it out of the start program or from my applications. It's still in here. It just deleted the shortcut that was placed on the desktop. Okay, so now we're going to get into what a window is in Windows, basically how it got its name. So anytime you open up anything, whether you open up Google Chrome or Firefox or the recycling bin, a picture, or whatever, it opens up in a window. So I'm going to open up, actually, let me close these so we can start from scratch. I'm going to open up every Windows 8, Windows 7, and Windows 10 all have a file button or a file icon in their taskbar by default. If it's removed, we can always add one in there, or you can get to it from your start button. And Windows 10, it's called File Explorer, and Windows 8, you can't. And Windows 7, they call it Computer or My Computer. So I'm going to click on File Explorer here, and it's going to open up the File Explorer window. So different things about the windows. Each window is going to change depending on what you are currently doing. So if I am in my pictures folder, if I'm in a pictures folder and I click on a picture, you'll notice it automatically realizes that I am in pictures and it will give me tools for what I can do with the picture. So if I hit manage, I can set it as a background, open up a slideshow to look at all the pictures in that folder, or in Windows 10, you can cast it to a device, but that's a lot more complicated. You can rotate the picture, and that will change depending on what you click on. If I click on downloads here and here's an application, it'll open up application tools. What can I do with that? Do I want to run it as an administrator, which you have to do in certain programs in order to save the stuff to your computer, or I'm having problems with it, I can hit troubleshoot. So the window will change based on what item you currently have open. So here I have a folder open. It knows pictures are in that folder, so it brings up the pictures tool. Or I have my folder with all my Microsoft Office programs and knows its shortcuts in there. So this is a window, and in the window, besides it changing automatically according to what is in the window, you can do a lot of other stuff. So you'll have the file button, and from here you can open up more windows and close it. Basically, that's basically all that's ever used on the file, and that's pretty much the same in Windows 7, Windows 8. And so if I hit close, boom, it closed the window. Let's open up the window again. So you have your home bar. In your home bar, once you click on an item and you click on the home bar, anything that has to do with that item will become unshaded so that you can see what is a bit able to be done with it. So if I click again on a picture and I'm on home, you'll see a lot of the stuff is highlighted. I can rename it, I can move it, I can copy it, I can cut it, or I can look at its properties. And under share, this is a Windows 8 and Windows 10 thing. You can email it if you have the email set up on your Windows 10 computer, or you can share it to say Facebook or any other social site. Or print is under share on Windows 10. Windows 7 it's under file, and Windows 8 it's under file. Or you can hit the view tab. And the view tab is not specific to the item that you have clicked, that is specific to the whole window. So on the view tab, if I say, you know, I don't like what I'm looking at here, I want the icons to be extra large so I can see the pictures better. Under view, I can change that, hit extra large, and now all my pictures will be a lot bigger where I can see them. Or if I have a whole bunch of documents in a folder, and I want them in a list so that I can just read the titles, I can click list and it'll just show me the titles. You can also do details. Details is what I normally use because you can see the date that it's made and the type of file and the size as well. You can also open up a preview pane, which will open up a side thing here. So if you are in list view or detail view and you're on an item, it'll show you in the preview pane what it is. Okay, so I'm going to answer a question now about the desktop, and it is, how do I get the icons on the left side of the screen under the recycling bin? So it's referring to here. I know I covered it real quick. I wasn't sure if that answer or question was up there at the time, but I'll answer it again. So again, let's say we want to add, let's look at my programs and decide what I want up there. I want to have a shortcut to my voice recorder. So on Windows 10, you would click and hold it and drag it right to the desktop. On Windows 7, you would right click and hit send to desktop. And on Windows 8, you would do the same thing, send to desktop. And once it's on the desktop, you can drag these items and move them all around. You can reorganize them. So hopefully that answers your question on how to get the items over there. And if you wanted to have, say, a picture, if you're in a folder and you wanted to add something to the desktop, it's the same. You can, and Windows 10, you can also right click, and this is just like Windows 7, right click, send to desktop. So now I made a shortcut to that picture on my desktop. So going back to Windows and the different features of the window, we'll continue with this bar up top. So this bar shows you where you are currently at in that family tree that I showed you earlier. So if I click this little arrow next to computer training, it'll pull down a list of folders. Or if I click the arrow up, it'll take me one tree up. So now it takes me to my desktop. So now I'm in my desktop folder. And from the desktop folder, you'll see if I click on computer training, it takes me right back to that folder. So again, let's go to the root of the drive, which under Windows 10 you get to by going to this PC. Windows 7 is called computer or my computer, and same with Windows 8. So if I'm in the root of the drive, you'll see the users folder. I'll click on my username, which is owner, and desktop. And on the desktop, I have a folder called computer training. And there's that folder. So that's how you get from the root of the drive to one of those icons that you have on your, to a file or a folder. It doesn't show shortcuts in the desktop folder, but that's how you would get to it from the root of the drive. All right. Other features in the Windows bar is at the bottom left, it'll show you how many items you currently have in the folder that you are in. So as you see, I have 5 pictures. It shows 5 items. And again, this is the bar, just this shows you where you're at. You have a forward and backward bar, which is the same as forward and backward on the internet. So you could go back to the previous folder that you're in. So, oh, I need to get back to my desktop. I hit the back button and it will take me right back to my desktop. You also have the search feature on the right side. This is a very handy feature. This computer was just completely wiped, so there's not a lot of stuff on there. However, if I wanted to search, you can search inside of a folder for different files using the search desktop feature. So if I wanted to search inside of my computer training folder, and I had a whole bunch of pictures, but I knew there was one of them named Windows 7 taskbar. I can type in and you'll see it automatically eliminates anything that does not have that in the title. Another feature about that search bar is if I don't know where that item is, but I know it's somewhere in my user folder. If I am, so here I'm in the desktop, if I want to go back to my user folder, which would be under owner, and I need to find that picture, and I type in Windows 7, it'll start pulling up everything with that name on it, and you'll be able to find the item that you're looking for. So if I want that picture of the Windows 7 taskbar, keep searching, and you'll see it pulls up 2 things. So obviously it's going to pull up a lot more results the more folders you're in, but that does search within the folders that are underneath it in the family tree. It doesn't search the ones that are above it, so it's not going to search the whole root drive, the whole C drive, but it will search everything below it. Is a really handy feature, especially if, you know, on some of my computers I have, you know, hundreds of documents and I know it had this one word in it, and so it helps me narrow it down to find that document. And you also have the, in the top right, you'll have a minus, a maximize, and a close button. So the minimize or minus is going to send it down to your taskbar. So now I minimized it and it's going to go right over the icon, and you can see if I am on it, it brings up all my instances of that item that I'm on, and I can click on it and it'll bring me back to where I was. You have the maximize, which is going to take you to the largest maximum size that your screen allows. So if I click on the maximize, it'll fill up the whole screen. And obviously the X will close it out. So if I hit the X, you'll notice now there's only one instance running, which is this computer training folder. And you can also change your view which I showed you earlier from the ribbon bar up here, you can change that in the bottom right by clicking on these buttons here. I can go between a thumbnail and a list view from the bottom right. And if you wanted to create a new folder, so let's go back to my computer training folder, and I need a new folder in here. There's actually quite a few different ways you can do it. The easiest way is going to be by using the right click. If you right click on your mouse button, it'll bring up the context menu again. And from there you hit new folder. And in that folder, you can, when it's highlighted blue, you can rename it whatever you want. And there's a new folder. So obviously there's nothing in that folder yet because we just created it. But say I wanted to separate my PowerPoint from my pictures, I wanted to put it in that picture, I can just click on the PowerPoint and drag it over that new folder and drop it. And it won't let me move it because I currently have it open. So let's move the Windows 7 taskbar picture. So I'll drag it over the folder, drop it. You'll notice it disappears from the computer training folder, but puts it in the new folder, which is located in the computer training folder. One second here, let me take a drink. Okay, so let's minimize the window. Actually, I take that back. Let's open it again. And inside of the window, all of them will have your quick access or recently opened in Windows 7 on the left side here. So anything that you open commonly, it'll automatically put it here on the left side of the window so that you can easily switch between windows, navigating your computer to whatever folder you might need to get into. So if I want to go to my videos folder, I can just click here and it'll take me to my videos or my music or my computer training. No matter where it's located at the hierarchy, this is a quick access, so it just takes you right there. OneDrive, we're not going to worry about. That is a cloud folder, which we'll get into in another class. And again, this PC, that shows you your root folders, your root drive of your C drive, and Windows 10 likes to add in your recently opened stuff up top here. And then network will show you everything that's currently on your network. So your printers and storage devices and other computers. As you see, I have a lot on this network because obviously we're a computer shop. So from this PC, again, we'll go to the C drive. So we're at the root of the folder, and from the users folder, we will see our name. We can click on that and we can get to all of our personal folders. And I keep showing you this because it's very important when it comes to saving and opening a document, which we're about to do. So I'm going to X this out, and first we're going to go over how to save a document, and we're going to use it in Microsoft Word. So if I go to all apps, it's in alphabetical order. And Windows 7, it is not in alphabetical order. Windows 8, you would have to click that little down arrow from your smart screen. And I will get to Word here. So here's Word 2013. And I will open up Word, and I'm going to create a new document. And I'm just going to type in hello world. And now I want to save it. So if I hit save, it's by default, Windows, if you just hit save, is going to save it according to what it is. So I hit save, and here Sorry. Okay, I lied. Windows 10 does not save it by default into the folder. That would be Windows 7 and Windows 8. Windows 10 is a little bit different. I always use the Save As feature, and that's because it lets you choose exactly where and what you want to name it. So if I click Save As, and I would like to save this, even though it's a document, just for fun, I want to save it in my pictures folder. If I hit browse, it's going to take me to somewhere in my hierarchy. Where depends on your computer. It doesn't always take you to documents as it did in this case, which as you can see, we are in the documents, which is inside of our user folder. But I want to save it to our pictures folder. So if I go back into our user folder, you'll be able to pull up your other folders and say, okay, pictures, and I want to save it in here, and I'm going to save it as Hello World, and hit save. It'll automatically save that into that pictures folder. So if we click our File Explorer and Pictures, there's the document, Hello World. And then once you have saved it as something, and you use the Save button, so say I change it to say, Hello World, I am Shay. And I hit File, Save. It's not going to change the location. It's not going to change the name of the file. It's just going to change the edits. So save, boom, change the edits. Still going to be in that pictures folder under Hello World. So now, I mean, that's how you save a folder. And by knowing the folder structure of starting with that root drive and the user folder, it's very easy to find your way around the computer knowing that everything you do is inside of that user folder. So now we're going to go into how to open a document. And you can do that several different ways. Two main ways, which I'll show you here today. One is through the File Explorer. If you know where that document's at, we know we just created a document and saved it in our Pictures folder. So if I navigate to the Pictures folder and double click on that item, it'll automatically open that file. The other way is if you open the program. So I want to open up Microsoft Word here again. And I want to open up that Hello World. You'll see Microsoft does show you all your recent stuff over here, but I'm going to do it the hard way. So if I hit Open Other Documents, I can click on Computer because it's in my computer and Browse. And throughout that hierarchy, again, it brings me to the documents, but remember we saved it in the Pictures folder. So we want to go back to that user folder and click on Pictures folder. And there's the document. And if I click on it and hit open, it'll open the document. If anybody has any questions for me on how to navigate the computer or anything that you think I didn't touch on, feel free to just write it in on the right side of the screen there. This is my first class. I've never done this before, so forgive me if I'm a little bit off or slow. I'm trying to get with it. And I hope that you guys learned a little bit there on how to navigate the computer and to work your way around it. And I'll wait a couple minutes here to see if anybody has any questions on the navigation before I get into the YouTube. And I'll just show you a couple things as we wait to see if anybody has a question. A common thing that happens is when someone downloads a file, they don't know where it goes to. So I am going to download a file. This is obviously the Creative Computers Solutions website, and we commonly send people here if we need to do a remote support session with them. And on the website, if you click this blue button, it downloads our remote support program to the computer. So by doing this, I'm downloading that program. So I click on it and it's going to automatically download the file. Obviously in Internet Explorer, you always get a pop-up box on the bottom here and you can hit run or save. What's the difference is running a file does not save it to your computer. So once it launches that file and you close it, it's gone. If you save the file, it'll save it to the computer. So we're going to save this file to the computer just by clicking save. And then Internet Explorer by default runs a security scan. And so it tries to make it easy by keeping this bar at the bottom and showing you run or open folder or view downloads, but we're going to pretend like we missed it. And so by default in the hierarchy, everything goes into the proper folder. And so if we want to get to our downloads, I'll go back to the root. I'll do it the hard way, and we go in our user folder. And again, the name of my user on this computer is owner. Most likely your computer is, most of the time it's your name. Sometimes it changes, especially if it's been in here to be repaired. A lot of times the name gets changed if we have to do a fresh install for you. So if I click on my user folder, we have downloads. So by default, all the downloads are saved in downloads. And this is the file that I downloaded. So a lot of people download pictures on the internet and they're like, oh, I don't know where it went to. And so that's in Internet Explorer, and I'll give you an example real quick in Google Chrome, because since those are the two most popular browsers. So let me pull Google Chrome down here. All right, so let's download a picture. So I have Google as the default search here, and let's see here, let's look for unicorns. All right, so I searched Google for unicorns, and then I click on this images tab, and I like this picture of a unicorn, and even though I really don't, but I would like to save this to my computer. So by right-clicking and pulling up that context menu, it works almost on everything. I can hit Save Image As. So here, you'll notice that it pulled me up to the computer training folder, but I don't want to save it there. I'd like to save it directly to my desktop. So I'll click on the left side here under this PC, I'll click on desktop, and you'll see that by default on the internet, it gives them these really funky, weird names, and I can change it to whatever I want it to be, and then click save. And on Google Chrome, you'll notice it shows all the downloads on the bottom left-hand side. And the more you do, it fills up this bar at the bottom. And one cool feature here, let me go to the desktop, and you'll see, oh, there's our unicorn picture. And say, I like that picture so much that I would like to set it as my desktop background. This is how most people change their desktop background. They go on Google, they find a picture they like, they save it to their computer, and then they right-click it and hit Set as Desktop Background. And there, you'll notice I now have a unicorn as my background. Obviously, it's not the right size, so it tries to adjust it, and all you see is eyeball or whatever. All right, so I'm not seeing any questions on how to navigate. So now I'll go into a very useful web application that a lot of people like, and I'm sure you use it whether you know it or not. Anytime you're on the, not anytime, but a lot of times when you're on the computer, called YouTube. So in my Google Chrome here, I am going to go to youtube.com. and I'm going to hit enter to navigate to YouTube, and it'll pull up my YouTube page. So if you have a Google account, YouTube is actually owned by Google. It lets you create your own channels. So if you wanted to upload your own videos of your kids or grandkids or sporting games or whatever, you can. Most people, I don't think, upload their own videos. However, there is billions of videos on YouTube. So, but I will show you what I use YouTube for. Say I am at home and I have to fix my garbage disposal because it is not acting right. I can literally, in the search bar here on YouTube, type in how to change garbage disposal, which it autofills here. To change garbage disposal, and you'll see it'll pull up a list of videos here of all these videos that people have made of how to change the garbage disposal. You can even type in specific model numbers. I mean, this list will go on, and this is on garbage disposals. I can go to page 6 here. We still have videos on how to change garbage disposals. So there's tons and tons of videos, and they're very helpful. I mainly use YouTube for how-tos. It was actually a very important way that I helped me learn after school on computers, because obviously everybody knows in school you never learn everything you need to know. So if I needed to figure something out on the computer, I could come to YouTube, and I need to learn how to take apart a certain laptop. I could type it in here, and someone's made a video on it. You can also look up music videos. So let's see here. Let's go with Elvis Presley. We can just type in his name here. Don't even have to type it all the way in. And I want to hear his Jailhouse Rock song, and you type it in up there, and it'll pull up his music videos or videos that people have made to it. Obviously, I don't think music videos were as popular back then as they were now, but you can listen to all your music for completely free on here just by searching for it. And let's say you open up a video here, and I'm going to pause it. The way they make their money is by showing you an advertisement prior to showing you your video. But say I like this person that put up this video. For some reason, I keep clicking on a lot of their videos. If I hit the subscribe button, which as you see, this person has 25,282 people subscribing to her. There we go, I subscribed. And when I'm back on the home page of YouTube, so I can get back there by clicking on the YouTube icon, I can see my subscriptions here. So under subscriptions, this has all of my subscriptions that I'm currently subscribed to. So it'll pull up all their videos and put it in a nice organized manner. By default, the homepage is going to change based on what you've looked at before, and change it accordingly. And a cool feature is the trending here. If you click on trending, it'll show you the most common videos right now on YouTube. For instance, this Peyton Manning talks to brother Eli's Super Bowl sad face on the Jimmy Fallon show here. It was put up 13 hours ago, and it already has 338,000 views. So they consider that trending. So you can see all the popular videos that's going on right now on YouTube through the trending. And under my channel, this is where if you wanted to upload your own video, this is where you would do that. It would be under my channel, and then you would have the upload button at the top right. And so say you took a video on your phone, and then you move that file from your phone to your computer. you could hit select files to upload, and guess what? It's going to bring up that folder structure again to find out, hey, where's that video that you want to upload? So if you go to if you saved it in your videos folder and you click on the video and hit open, it'll automatically load that video up onto YouTube, and then you can publish it and share it with all your friends or whatever you want to do. So YouTube is a uh, really cool site when it comes to the videos. You can entertain yourself on here for hours. I watch tons of hockey videos on here. I love hockey, and so you can always watch the hockey fights or good scores or whatever. People are constantly, every day, thousands and thousands and thousands of videos get uploaded to YouTube. Does anybody have any questions on YouTube or anything that you might want to know how to do on here? If so, just obviously just type the question over there. And that pretty much concludes the YouTube and the how to navigate the computer. So now if you guys have any specific questions for me, I'd be more than happy to show you how to take care of whatever you want to know. And also, just to let you know, this video it'll be uploaded to our website and to our Facebook page and stuff like that. So if you wanted to, if you saw something that I showed you and you wanted to remember how to do it, you can come back and look at it, and you obviously won't have to watch the whole thing again. You can just skip to that part that you want to know. And also, if you do, see, Steve just said not at this time, but maybe later after exploring with it. Yeah, if you do come up with any questions later on, feel free to shoot me an email. You can just reply to that training email, and that comes directly to me. And I can kind of try to help you. Learn how to do that, and then if not, we can always cover that in the next session as well. I'm trying to do these weekly, so again, like I said, this is my first one, so I'm a little bit off, but let's see here. So yeah, if you do have any other questions, just feel free to email me. Let's see here. And Anne has a question of how to block as many ads as possible. Okay, this is actually a really cool question. Let me get rid of this unicorn because he's bothering me. So to get rid of the unicorn, I'm going to type in change background, and it will bring up those system settings, and I can change it to whatever I want it to be. I can change it to a slideshow, a solid color, a picture, which I'll go with picture. I'll change it back to the default there. And there we go. Now I don't have to look at a unicorn. All right, so how to block as many ads as possible. Unfortunately, everything we do on the internet, these websites make their money through the advertisement, which is how most of the time they give us the information for free. However, they are a pain in the behind. So there is a really cool way to block ads. So on Google Chrome, I'll show you Google Chrome first and then Internet Explorer. There is a cool program called AdBlock Plus, which is the most popular ad blocker out there. And so on Google Chrome, on the right side, you have these three lines, which is kind of like the menu of Google Chrome. And I will go to settings. and click on settings. When I'm in settings, you'll see on the left side, there'll be a thing called extensions. Extensions are all the applications that Google Chrome is currently working with. So you'll see right now I have a Google Docs, a Mailtrack, and Ring Central, which is a telephone thing. So if I want to get the AdBlock Plus for Google Chrome, I would click on the Get More Extensions. And it will take you to the Chrome Web Store. When I'm in the Chrome Web Store, I just type in AdBlock. And you'll see it pulls up here, and you'll see AdBlock Plus. And I know AdBlock Plus because it's just a very popular one. And if I hit Add to Chrome, it's gonna ask me, "Are you sure?" Yes, I'm sure. AdBlock Plus has been added to the new Chrome. So, all right, now I have AdBlock Plus in there, and let me show you how it looks. I might have to restart Chrome here. Let's go to nbc-2.com. So normally when you're on the NBC page, yeah, it's not. I got to restart it here. 1 second. Let me close. Well, I'll show you what it looks like in Internet Explorer because I can't close Chrome because that's what I'm using to broadcast the signal. So in Internet Explorer, if you use the big blue E, you would click on the gear icon, and under there you would have manage add-ons. And your add-ons are the same things as extensions in Google Chrome. And you can, on the bottom of here, it'll say find more toolbars and extensions. And you would click on that. And you can hit, look at that, it's probably their most popular one. It popped right up for us. So if I hit add, and run, and then it pops up with install. Oh, setup failed. One or more issues cause the setup to fail. Let's see here. Let's give it another shot. Let's go the other way around. So let's type in AdBlock Plus in our navigation bar and go to their official website here. And we'll click on install for Internet Explorer. And of course, you'll see it popped up this box at the bottom, and we'll have to click run. And it's running the security scan here. It pops up. I'm not sure if it's showing you this, but it pops up and it's asking me if I want to allow this app to make changes. I'll click yes. So now it's telling me, hey, Internet Explorer is still running. Would you like to shut down Internet Explorer in order to avoid having to reboot? Yes, I would. And then I was asking me if it wants to close, if I wanted to close it for me. Yes, I would. So now it's going to install it for us. And boom, AdBlock Plus is now installed. So if I open up Internet Explorer, when you open it back up for the first time, it's going to ask you if you want to enable that extension at the bottom here. So I will click enable. And you can make sure it's enabled again. If you click on the gear over there and hit manage add-ons, you'll see here's the AdBlock Plus extension and it is enabled. So now let's go to the MVC2. Okay, it made me restart Internet Explorer again after I enabled it. So nbc-2.com. So now you'll see I am on the NBC2 website, and here's what it looks like on Internet Explorer with AdBlock Plus. And let's go to the Google Chrome version. Oh, it kicked in now over here. But if I turn off AdBlock Plus, let's see here, disable and refresh, you'll notice it has this advertisement bar at the top. It has, if we click on or scroll down, you'll have the Romance, the Miramar Outlets advertisement. And on the Internet Explorer page, that's the wrong one. Now there is a lot of stuff right now in the news about the ad blockers because it does take away the revenue from the websites. So they're trying to legislate this stuff. If it goes through, I don't know, but a lot of websites, like I think Forbes is one. Certain websites, you'll go to them. Let's see if Forbes is one. No, not Forbes. Certain websites will say that you're not allowed on this site if you have a ad blocker enabled. And if it does say that and you don't want to get rid of the ad blocker, on the bottom part of your internet browser or Chrome, you'll see the little stop sign over here with ABP, and you can click on that and hit disable on that. So disable on subs whatever that website, and so that way it'll let you at least get onto that website if you need to. And that's how you block ads, AdBlock Plus. So again, easiest way is just to go directly to their website and install the proper extension for whatever browser you're using. And they have a mobile version for your phone and an iOS version for iPads, and they're all out there. If you go on a website that has way too many ads, install it and it'll take care of it. All right, and let's see. Millie has a little bit more on backup. Please, I'm not sure if I have cloud backup. Millie, I will contact you. We will check your computer, but you have our cloud backup service, but we'll make sure that it's enabled. But since we bring it up, I'll tell everybody about it to see if everybody is on it or not. We at Creative Computer Solutions sell cloud backup called LiveDrive, and that is a program that automatically backs up everything on your computer as far as data. So basically, anything that's in that user folder will be backed up. So anything in here, any of my contacts, anything on my desktop, it doesn't back up applications because you can't really restore applications. You have to reinstall them. but it'll back up it automatically, so you don't have to worry about if your computer breaks, if a fire or flood or it gets stolen. You don't have to worry about it. Everything's backed up to the internet in a highly secure location. It actually uses military grade encryption when it's transferring the files back and forth. Not even I can access your files when they're in the cloud backup. But it's a very certain way to make sure everything's backed up. And we resell one called LiveDrive. There is others out there. Obviously, I think ours is the best, and that actually comes in one of our unlimited support plans, which gives you unlimited system help, unlimited service, tune-ups, virus protection, that cloud backup, and you can see more information about the support plans on our website at www.ccsfix.com. But make sure that you do have a backup, whether it's a cloud backup or a external hard drive. External hard drive, I will show you here. I'm going to plug in, let's see here. I'm going to plug in an external hard drive real quick so you can see how that would pop up and how easy it is to back up all your stuff. So I'm plugging in my external right now, which is actually a flash drive. There we go. So as you see, that's asking me what I want to do when I hook up a removable drive. If I click on that, it'll give you the default settings, configure this drive for backup. So if you had an external hard drive, which external hard drives, I think the ones we sell in our shop run about $80 to $100. Every time it's plugged in, it'll back up everything. However, I will show you from the root of the computer again how to get to it. So now you'll notice if I click on this PC, or on Windows 7 would be my computer, and on Windows 8 as well, you'll see under devices and drives, now we have our C drive, but we also have our D drive. So every time you add in a new hard drive, it creates a new root folder for that drive. So the D drive is my external hard drive. It's actually just a flash drive, but it's the same concept. So if I click on that, you can see everything that's on my external hard drive, and it's the same folder structure again. So you have folders, and inside folders you have more folders and files. And if you wanted to use it as a backup, you could configure it when you first plug it in by saying, hey, let's do a backup. You could also, from the search bar, type in backup. Whoops, I unplugged my keyboard. Backup here. And you could type in, I like this Windows 7 version of backup and restore, and it lets you configure a backup for the external hard drive. I'm not going to go through that process though, because I don't have enough space on mine for a backup on here, and I don't want to mess it up, because that's actually my flash drive that I use to fix a lot of computers with. But that's how you would configure the external backup. And again, you navigate to it just like you would your C drive. It all has its root, and it all uses that family tree. And I do want to say thank you all for attending. Again, I'm trying to do this weekly, and hopefully I will get better as I go along. And feel free to shoot me an email on topics or suggestions that you would like covered, or better times. I don't know if it would be better during the day for most people or at night. But feel free to shoot me an email with what the best time is for you to do a training session or day or whatever. That way I can try to gear it towards the masses, to better suit everybody. As we had about 50 people sign up for today's, with only about, it looks like, about 15 different people actually coming on. But I would like to, have these classes when it best suits everybody else, because I want to make sure you guys know how to use a computer, and then when your computer does have a problem, hopefully you will come to us. So again, thank you very much. And if you have any other questions, feel free to email them to me. And tell your friends, if you think this is useful, you can send your friends to the website and they can watch it. And if you didn't think it was useful, also please send me an email, because that would be very helpful in constructive criticism, hopefully, so that I can do it better for you next time. And our next class, I believe I'm going to go over internet browsers and how to use them and the different things you can do in them. But I am not 100% sure. I will decide. I'll figure that out all tomorrow based on some feedback from tonight. So whatever you guys want covered next week, feel free, shoot me an email and I'll try to include it in there. If you have any specific softwares that you would like talked about, shoot me an email. Again, you can reply to the email that I sent you, or you can send it to Shea, SHEA, at ccsfix.com. Or you can just go on the website and use the contact form on there. That also goes directly to me. And then we can try to get, what's covered best for you. Literally any subject. I'm going to need plenty of them, and computers are very complex machines, so there's plenty of stuff to be taught. So again, thank you very much for coming, and any other questions, just shoot me an email, and you guys have a wonderful night. Thank you very much. Bye.